The lost prophets, the people in our lives who are contemplating deeper things, the thinkers, the people we know who have profound truths and they always have very interesting things to say. Maybe they don't speak often, but when they speak, they say interesting things that are plausible, and it captivates our imagination and makes us think that they could be onto something because perhaps we've thought similar things. Um, so, in the modern day, with what's happening now in our current era, where we have medical discrepancies, we have all kinds of malfeasance going on in the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industries and even in politics and you know and the people who are speaking about these issues, and you have people speaking about the issues of fraudulence um, in pretty much every industry, even corporate interests and things like that, and how it undermines the lives of the common people. Um, all of these issues aside, the people who look into the deeper things, the deeper aspects of life, and the meaning of things, um, and the treachery that is encroaching on the common people. These people, um, and even the people who contemplate the deeper meanings and the deeper good of things. These people are uh, the lost prophets. They they know things and they seek to understand things, and they're not doing it out of a sense of arrogance. They're doing it because they're alone, because they don't know how to. They don't really they don't really have a lot of friends. They're isolated from people. Uh, they're loners in a way. Um, these people um, they don't have ill feelings towards people. They they want the best. Um, you see these kind of people even in the manosphere, the red pill community. You have men, and you have some women as well who know these deep uh, things, these important factors as to how our human society runs and how we can run it more efficiently. But they're isolated, they're laughed at, they're lambasted, they're criticized ad infinitum, um, and they're not really given a reasonable. They're not really given the time of day with their thoughts, and the anger this causes, the isolation, the pain, the frustration, because the people in the mainstream, when they speak about topics, when they bring up things like equality, and they bring up movements, and I won't say the movements, but there's several different movements. Um, when they bring up these things, they're praised instantly, and people instantly agree with them. But then when you have the men and the women who understand uh, certain systems, and they are enlightened just by their own research, and even some people through their own honest, truthful intuition, um, they are thrown under the bus. So then my thinking is that perhaps the lost prophets are the ones who are loners at heart, or maybe they're not loners and they do have a lot of friends, but while they're around their friends, they feel lonely and isolated. So perhaps even worse. Um, these are the individuals I believe that we should cultivate because and encourage, because their opinions and their ideas are things that I think typically the world changing ideas sometimes come from these individuals. And I can kind of see even in the manosphere and even in the the political and social realm and things like that, just the secret underbellies. These are the people who are kind of ruffling up the common narrative and making a change for the better, as opposed to just going along with the status quo. Uh, I think this is fascinating, and I've often felt isolated from others, and I often feel I have a lot of things to say, um, but then I don't know. I guess the curse of the lost prophet is that um, they're speaking, they're speaking, but after a while they'll either lose the will to speak or they'll be silenced. Um, Losing the will to speak, you could argue, is even worse. Um, but these people are extremely important, and they're like a flame. They're like a flame that, if it goes out, then you have to wait for another one to burst out. They're always around throughout every time and every era, and they're not necessarily who we suspect. The wisdom kind of comes from anyone. Wisdom can come from anyone, and it can come from everywhere. It can come from a child. It can come from an adult. It can come from an animal. It can come from a tree. It can come from, it doesn't it doesn't it doesn't seem like it cares what entity is housing it. Um, it can even come from a bad person. um, yeah, but these people are very important to our growth as a nation, and as a collective. They help us steer the ship. They help us recognize the wrongs and rights and the deeper aspects of things. Um, these would be our philosophers. These would be our thinkers. Uh, the ones who go to debates and argue vigorously, or the ones who are the ones who sit back and recognize the wrong and recognize the deeper things, but they fear for their own lives, so they kind of keep their ideas to themselves. Some of them are never really discovered as a result of the need for their own safety and preservation of their own reputation. Uh, the lost prophets.